Do the angels have the mental aspects of animals too, or just in shape or form? Is similar. Obviously, they are similar in the sense of, you know how you may speak to an animal, let's say a dog in this case, which are the ones that we tend to, um, well, live with them the most. Like most people have dogs or cats. Um, it would be harder to speak about a lion or stuff like that, which not a lot of people have a relationship with. But well, in general, if you talk to an animal, you will see how the animal understands a little bit of what you're telling the animal. Depends on the animal, of course, but they all will understand a little bit according to the understanding that the Almighty Creator gave them. For instance, like I was saying, a dog will tilt his head trying to understand what you're telling him, or and the dog will, in fact, understand part of what you're saying. You will understand what certain words mean in the sense of what you're trying to, let's say you say eat. He understand that he must go and eat whatever you gave them. Um, but he doesn't really know, as we know the definition of the word eat is to put something to your mouth, chew it, take it to your belly, and then digest it. And well, and all of the processes that may go with it, they don't understand all of that. They just get, all right, so you want me to swallow that? Okay, let's do that. So they get the simplest of whatever understanding you're trying to put in their heads. Is kind in that sense is the same with angels. For we know that in scriptures, we are told that they don't understand scriptures. They know scriptures, they don't understand scriptures. They only understand the letter. So it means the simplest, which is not what the Almighty is telling us. For he gave us reason, intellect, so that we may go deeper, so that we may understand parables, so that we may understand metaphors. An animal will never understand a metaphor because that's just way too much. It's outside the spectrum of his understanding. So you can communicate with an animal. Depends on the animal. The well, according to certain studies, the amount of words that they may be able to understand or connect with an action, because that's kind of like they do it. You tell them the word and they connect it with something that they have done before. They know that that's what we are trying to tell them, but they don't know the definition of the word or any other thing like that. So angels were not given all the understanding that is available for us. And I would say available because not all humans are really, I should say, even humans. And I hope this is not misunderstood, but in scriptures, we read how Yahweh speaks of the nations, kingdoms, as animals. Those kingdoms represented by animals. For instance, Babel was represented by a lion. The Persians were represented by a bear. The Greeks were represented by a leopard. The Romans were represented by a mutant, an animal that we don't know, a mix of different characteristics. And the same happens with all nations. They all, according to their beliefs, their actions, would actually act like a certain type of animal. For instance, in the book of Daniel, we see how Nebuchadnezzar, he, the king of Babel, was like a lion with eagle wings, but then he became a human. And that story is of a time when he rejected the Almighty. He became an animal for 7 years. He even grew feathers. But then when he realized that he was wrong about his belief, that he was the owner of earth and all of that, that he believed as a king, and he realized that all the power that he had, he received it from the Creator Almighty, the mighty one of Daniel. That is when he became a human. So even in the vision that is given to Daniel, when the nations are represented by animals, the nation of Babel, who was a lion with wings of eagle, eventually becomes a human. So if a human being accepts the fact that there is a creator almighty who made us in his image and likeness, and that he is the one who gives us everything, power, strength, understanding, wisdom, etc., then that person is a true human. But if that person doesn't accept that fact, it doesn't matter if that person has the shape of a human, his actions, his thoughts are like those of an animal, for he will end up acting like an animal, not like a human. A human, a true human, doesn't lie, doesn't steal, doesn't kill, honors his father and mother, loves Yahweh with all his heart, all his mind, all his strength, etc., etc. The commandments. A true human acts according to the one who made him, according to his will. While any person who likes to act in a different way will end up acting like an animal. It depends on the person. It depends on his or her weakness. It depends on the sin that that person commits, the animal that that person represents. And since angels are the ones from whom the images of animals were taken, then that means that when a person doesn't act like a human, is because he is following the desires of his flesh and acting according to what a certain angel teaches, like the doctrines of demons. So that person will be like that angel, and that angel happens to be the image from whom an animal was taken. For instance, people who are fornicators, they are like rabbits. We see in scriptures that rabbits are an impure animal, so it could not be eaten when it comes to the flesh, when it comes to the letter, because it chews the cut. It does it in a different way, but it doesn't have the split hoof. So the rabbit is not pure, and it represents people who go around having children with several, for instance, in this case, a man who has children with different women, has children in different houses, because of his fornication, because rabbits act that way. They go around and make different, they have their rabbits with a bunch of other ones. That is why the rabbit is used, for instance, for Playboy, and other things like that. But for instance, Playboy is a perfect example of how fornication is connected with that type of animal. Then there are many others. For instance, the one that is the most common to speak about when it comes to flesh is the pig. The pig appears to be set apart, for it has a split hoof, but it doesn't chew the cud. So you can only find out if he's pure by seeing its insides. The Almighty told us about it, so we know from the book of Moshe, the books of Moshe, the law. But that's why the pig, when it goes down, puts its feet like to the front, kind of to act like if he was pure, because it has split. But if you were to look at how he eats and what it goes, what happens inside, you will realize it doesn't chew the cud. So that means it is not a pure animal. So the pig represents people who are lukewarm, pretty much, like the scripture says in Revelation 3 about those who are lukewarm, whom Yahweh will vomit from his mouth. He cannot stand people who are lukewarm, because Yahweh prefers like truth always, of course. In that matter, what I mean is that if a person is a thief, Yahweh will respect more the thief who accepts to be a thief than the one who is stealing while saying that he's helping. For instance, a lot of preachers who are stealing from the people and teaching lies. They're not teaching the scriptures. They only speak about getting money, and then they get the money from his people and don't help those people. So they are being like pigs. People who act like they are set apart, people who act like they are humble, but in fact they are not. Inside of them, their hearts are filled with evil thoughts. They are thinking the opposite of what they are doing, and that is being lukewarm. Yahweh would prefer if that person would be like honest, and I mean honest when it comes to accepting what he is, what he likes, what he does. Even if he will be punished for that sin, of course, he won't be punished as much as the person who claims to be set apart but is not. And that is pretty much what Halel is. Samael represents those who are evil in a clear way. Halel, Lucifer, represents those who claim to be pure, set apart, good, special, better than, yet are even worse than those on the left. So that's why Yahweh vomits those from his mouth, those people. So with the question, it said, do the angels have the mental aspects of animals too, or just in shape or form? The mental aspects, yeah, but not exactly like the animal. So I hope that it was understood with everything that I just said regarding how if you have an animal, you can communicate with the animal, but the animal won't get everything that you're telling them. So the same happens with the angels. Scripture says that they don't understand scriptures like we can understand scriptures. And I say we can because it is when we accept Mashiach, confess his name, that the Ruach comes to us and teaches us all things. So when we read, the intellect anointed by the Ruach will help us to understand what we are reading. We may read something according to the letter, but then the Spirit will tell us that means this and that. Like, for instance, when Mashiach said regarding the leaven of the Pharisees, and the disciples thought he was talking about bread. And Mashiach was like, no, when will you understand? I'm not talking about bread. I'm talking about hypocrisy. So the animal would only understand he's talking about bread. The human will get that he's saying a metaphor. He's talking about hypocrisy. So the Pharisees, who were like animals, couldn't understand anything that Mashiach was saying. Even the disciples sometimes, because they were followers of the same teaching before Mashiach came and explained it to them. So, and also we know that the Spirit came after Mashiach left. So the understanding of the disciple was not the same when they were with Mashiach than after Mashiach gave them the Ruach in Shavuot. So that's one of the things regarding the angels, and one of the reasons why the angels, some angels, not all, some angels don't like us that much, because they saw how Yahweh gave us something greater. Even though he made us a little bit less than angels when it comes to power, he made us greater through Mashiach, through his Ruach, when it comes to understanding. So another thing that I wanted to say, let me go to 1 Peter for a second. 1:12. Let me see. This is the one. I'm gonna read from this verse 10. Concerning this deliverance, the prophets have sought out and searched out, prophesying concerning the favor for you. So before Mashiach came, who is the truth, the prophets would receive prophecy, but they wouldn't understand the prophecy. And we see it time and time again when the prophet receives the prophecy, and then he asks the angel, what was that? What did I just see? What does that mean? So concerning the deliverance, the prophets have sought out and searched out, prophesying concerning the favor for you, because they were prophesying about something that would come to us. Searching to know what sort of time the Ruach, which was in them, the spirit of prophecy, which is the testimony of Mashiach, was pointing out concerning Mashiach, when it was bearing witness beforehand the sufferings of Messiah and the schemes that would follow, to whom it was revealed that they were serving, not themselves. So the prophets realized it was revealed to them that they were not serving themselves. They were serving Yahweh on our behalf. To whom it was revealed that they were not serving, not themselves, that they were serving, to whom it was revealed that they were serving, not themselves, but you, in these matters, which now have been announced to you through those who brought the good news to you by the Ruach HaKodesh, the set-apart spirit sent from heaven, into which the Malachim long to look into. If they long to look into, is because they cannot. The Malachim, the messengers, were not allowed to understand the plan of Yahweh, even though it was written, even though they had all the knowledge of the letter, because that is also important. Angels are given all the knowledge regarding whatever job they have. Let's say an angel is the angel of water. He knows everything that there is to know about water. But for instance, he may not understand that Yahushua is the water of life, because that is a metaphor. Just like water helps us in the physical, Yahushua is that in the spiritual. We cannot live without him, just like we couldn't live without water. So an angel will know that water is made of this and that, and is everything that it is, and that we need it. But the connection with Mashiach is where they get lost. I repeat, like in a metaphor, like in a parable. So angels, the messengers, long to look into. They long to look into, meaning they wish they could understand it. They wish they could get it. And we got it through the Ruach given to us by Mashiach. So they know, I repeat, everything regarding the subject for which they were made. An angel that was made for lightning, an angel that was made to make grass grow, knows everything about the grass, but doesn't know anything about water. That one that was created for water doesn't know anything about grass. And neither of those know anything about lightning. So if an angel was created for a certain job, it's all that angel knows. And no one knows like that angel. But there is a difference between knowing and understanding, which comes through the Ruach, for instance. So I hope that part is clear, brother. Is that why Mashiach was called the Lion of Yahudah? He was the positive of the negative. In a way, but I wouldn't say he's the positive of the negative. Instead, I would say that the Satan as a lion is the negative. That's it. For it's pretty much like comparing the power that, well, like you said, in the negative, that is given to Satan as king of wickedness, of evil. Mashiach came as the king of good, the king of truth. And also, Yahudah was the tribe that represents kings. And amongst the animals, lion is king. So that's why that animal was used to refer to the tribe of Yahudah. And then since Mashiach would come from that tribe to give us, says chimps have a very high imagery understanding when taught. If there was a certain monkey that knew hundreds of different images and could connect the word to the image, would they connect to any specific malach? Yeah. In fact, I don't know if you've seen, but in the the Hindu religion, in which they have thousands of gods, there is the monkey god, which actually was worshipped by Barack Obama. He had an idol of this god in his pocket all the time. And not only that, he was given another idol of it. So this would be the angel from whom the monkeys were created. It's called Hanuman. So this god that you see here as Hanuman is the monkey god. And that would be the angel who has the shape of a monkey, from whom the image of the monkeys were made. Hope that's clear. You see here, he took it out of his pocket. He would always have Hanuman in his pocket and many other idols, just in case, not only that one.